For many young athletes, the dream of advancing their collegiate career is one that often originates in their own backyard. This year, the NCHC has taken steps to amend their recruiting process, and the new legislation will let kids be kids.
The changes made were long overdue. The recruiting environment had become unhealthy. Through incredible efforts of many, we were able to usher through watershed legislation that has and will make the recruiting experience better.
He just meant it was getting too young. I think for the players and for the schools, you're making a decision at such a young age for the kid and a limited amount of the viewing for us, that it just got a little crazy. And kids were maybe picking the wrong schools. Schools were maybe recruiting a kid before they knew exactly what they were getting. And the new rules pushed it back a year, which I think everybody's happy about.
Recruiting conversations now must wait until January 1st of the student's 10th grade year, and verbal offers are now only permitted on August 1st before the student's 11th grade year. But Huskies defenseman Jack Ashon believes the new rules won't highly impact future college recruits.
It's going to be a little bit different. Maybe people won't look at the younger guys as much, and a lot of our recruits and commits, even my teammates here, they got recruited at a late age, and I think late bloomers are kind of the thing right now. So it's definitely going to change that, but I think it's going to help teams know that the younger kids still have a lot of time to improve and develop.
Honestly, it takes a lot of pressure off younger kids, so kids don't have to be their best player at 15 or whatever it is. There's late bloomers, and it takes pressure off them that they can just continue to develop, and then college hockey at the end of the day will be better.
Because some of the best kids ever to come through St. Cloud have been kids that were recruited when they were 19 or 20, and we're seeing some of the same things now with the kids that we've got here, where those older late bloomers can be a huge part of your program, and a lot of programs are doing a really good job of being patient enough and finding that right balance, and that's what we're trying to do here. Not always go after the young hotshot per se, be selective there, but make sure we're doing the right things to make sure we have opportunities for that late bloomer kid.
We were not intending to create perfect legislation. I don't think that's realistic. We were attempting to create legislation that attacked an unhealthy recruiting culture. And although more time is needed to analyze the impact, the initial feedback is that it's doing what it was intended to do.
And that is to let young players know college hockey will always be worth the wait. And welcome to this week's episode of Hockey and Chill. Again, I'm joined by head coach Brett Larson. And Brett, certainly plenty of things to talk about on this week's film session. We're going to start with a goal by Jack Poehling, but more importantly, how that goal is all precipitated by the work by Sam Hentges as you roll the first clip here. And I want to pause here early because it all really starts about the forechecking angle that he takes to first make some physical contact.
Well, it does. Right away, one of the first things you're taught is to deny the back of the net. We're trying not to let three get around the net. We want to cut that off. We want to have good stick position, which we do. Sam uses a little deception. And then just, right now, all the goal scoring studies, all these people that do analytics right now will tell you that one of the best ways you can score is when a puck goes from below the goal line into the slot. It's one of the hardest places for the goalie to track. And obviously, in this case, Jack takes advantage of that.
And one small thing that Sam Hentges does really well, we have it up here on the film, is that as he's engaged in the puck battle, as you can see, he takes a second, he looks over the shoulder to see Jack Poehling trailing down the middle of the ice. That's something, as small as it is, was a big reason why this puck ends up in the back of the net.
Well, it's certainly not small, right? Obviously, that's awareness. That's what makes offensive players that are really good, really good.
We're going to talk about your goaltender, David Rennick, because he was instrumental, especially in last Saturday's game. Talk about when you're coaching lateral movement, it really starts in your head and just reading the play that's coming in, on top of you.
Sure. And that's one thing for me is, I'm not a goalie guru by any chance. We've got a goaltending coach for a reason. And the one thing, though, is you notice about all these saves, his lateral movement puts him in a position where he doesn't have to make a huge save. That last one there hits him right in the stomach. So it's not like that's off the toe. It's not like it's desperate. What I see here is a goalie who's mentally really sharp, and his anticipation is good because his push puts him in an area where, like I said, that thing's hitting him right in the chest.
We're going to finish with one thing, a small thing again, but does a lot to help your team. That's going to be stick positioning in the defensive zone. This time it's on the penalty kill, and we have Spencer Meyer here perfect here. He's got his body between him and the net. His stick is taking away the middle of the ice. This pass does get by him. He really doesn't have much of a play there. It goes into a space that's in tight, and there's really not a whole lot he can do with it.
That's they run a great 2-3 power play, and that's one play you have to kind of give up a little bit. So Spencer has to have his stick to the middle. We have to take away the most dangerous area. David knows that anything short side of the net is his on a wrap. You can see Jack Ashan there protecting the backside. So if David's confident that that puck can't get to the backside, he can stand tall, and hopefully that would take a real special play to score from there.
Coach, great time once again. Love breaking down film with you. Thanks for joining us again.
Perfect. Enjoyed it.
For forward Jake Wallen, his senior season is turning out to be his best yet as a Husky.
Jake Wallen, I think, is having the best year of his career. He didn't play a ton last year going into the season. I didn't know how it was going to go for him. We really didn't. We asked him to play a certain way, to earn more time in the lineup, and he's gone from a guy in and out of the lineup to be a guy we're counting on. I mean, he brings the energy every game, brings a really positive energy to the room and to the team, and his speed, his ability to break up plays with his stick on the forecheck, his ability to bring just kind of a momentum to the game with the energy that he brings has been a huge piece this year.
He's always the one that's first on the forecheck, first jumping off a face-off. I mean, he's definitely one of those players that you watch and he doesn't take a stride off.
He's a heck of a player. I think he doesn't get enough credit sometimes. He's really been shining on that second line with Henches and Brodsey. Like he's super fast. He's got great hands, great skill, good vision too. So he's a heck of a player, and also just off the ice, he's our like spark plug.
Off the ice, Jake has an infectious personality that always makes others around him enjoy life's moments.
I try and come in with a smile each day too, and I like to joke around with a lot of the guys, so I definitely think that could be a reason for it. But like I said, I just try and come in with positive attitude and smile each day, so I definitely think that could be part of it.
He's just a heck of a guy. Just a great, down-to-earth, funny kid who is always willing to give us a laugh. He's one of my best friends, me and him.
Such a genuine guy. He's got the biggest heart. He's one of my favorite people, honestly, like in the world. Like he's just such a goofball.
He's a funny guy. I mean, he's definitely one of the guys that lightens up the room for everybody else. I mean, he's one of the guys that you can talk to about anything and have a good laugh about anything too. The joy Jake feels in his own life has always revolved around the frozen ponds with the hockey stick in his hands.
Like, I just want him to be happy, and part of it is playing hockey. That's his whole, that's been his whole life, and, he just loves it, and, as long as he's happy and he loves the game, and that's going to be part of his happiness, because playing the game is all he's ever done and loved, and so it's been a really good ride.
With games at the Brooks Center coming to a close, Jake feels grateful for all the memories he's had in a Husky sweater.
I mean, I would probably say, both the Penroses, like, it was one of those things that, we set out to try and strive for that starting the beginning of the year. So I think the brotherhood of those 2 years of getting to win the Penrose is definitely something that I would cherish for the rest of my life.
He has such a positive attitude, always has a smile on his face. He's the man. I love Wally.
And welcome to this week's edition of Hockey and Chill. Again, I'm joined by head coach Brett Larson. Brett, a couple of really good topics we're going to discuss in this week's film session. As you roll our first clip, we're going to talk about how important it is for forwards to apply back pressure to the neutral zone and how that can lead to transition hockey.
Well, it's a big part of the game. You can tell when your team's into it, too. You're winning these races. You see Jack Paling here cut that off, create a turnover. Now you're looking to go north with it quick and attack. And it's a huge part of our game. With our speed up front, if we can do a good job back pressuring teams, it's going to create offense for us and it's going to limit theirs.
Second topic we want to discuss on today's episode is shooting indirectly at the net. A lot of teams in college hockey now do such a good job of taking away the shooting lanes directly toward the net, and how shooting away from the net and getting some tips on that really can help you create a better scoring opportunity.
This is where the game, I think, just has continued to get better, and better, and people are learning and finding different ways. But shot blocking and being in the lane has become so good now. Sometimes it's just so hard to get the pucks to the net against these teams, and they have layers of it. It's not just the top layer. D are now taught to front down below and block shots and leave the guy in behind you, rather than in the old days you'd just be trying to push that guy out of the way. Well, guys are too big and strong to push out of the way now. So we call it having layers around the net. We want to have guys, we say eyes and feet. So you always want somebody in the goalie's eyes, somebody off to the side of at the feet, and giving you options, either a direct quick shot or look into those plays off net to try to create some opportunities.
And Brett, the last topic of conversation we'll have today is the third forward help down below in the defensive zone, and how having good support on your defenseman can help create a good breakout, and then again limiting offensive chances for your opponent.
We talk a lot about a low and slow center. It sounds kind of funny, but you want that player underneath their coverage, and whether it's D-zone structure breakout where he's the next guy to a puck in a battle, or it's a little pop play to the center real low, it gives you the opportunity to get underneath their forecheck and allow the wingers to push up and create some space. So for us, having a low and slow center, a guy that's in a good position to support the D, really helps with the breakouts, and if there's a turnover, he's in a good defensive position.
And we see here in this glass clip, I should say, Sam Hentges does a really good job. Again, he cycles in behind that to grab a loose puck. He, in fact, creates a breakaway opportunity here for Yami Cornell. This is what leads to his first collegiate goal.
Yeah, great goal, by the way, too. So obviously that support down there is critical. And like I said, there's a lot of pucks that end up kind of in areas. So the defensemen are taught to defend. They're pushing guys to a certain area. If that center can get down there and pick up those loose pucks, you can create a lot of offense out of it, because the other team's F3 is usually fairly high. So now that center has the opportunity to step into some space and look to make a play.
Right, always a pleasure. Again, thank you for coming in and joining us breaking down film. We'll see you again next time.
Thanks for having me.
For freshman forward Zach Okabe, you would never guess his skills on the ice were developed in the Outback.
It was a lot of individual work. I think just me and my dad pretty much, and he always told me there's more people out there, and obviously it's not just Australia. It's not a big country. If you're the best in Australia, it doesn't really mean anything. Like, there's always better players than you. So I mean, it was a lot of work with him, just one-on-one in our garage, just shooting pucks, and I played a lot of inline hockey and just getting on the ice as much as I could, but it wasn't a lot.
Growing up in Japan, Australia, and Canada, it was family that brought Okabe to the Granite City.
We're a hockey school, and that's what I was kind of looking for. I wasn't really looking for a big school where football and all that is like Big Ten schools, but I mean, I really like the small town feel and the hockey school kind of feel, and obviously my dad's alma maters.
Transitioning from the junior game to the college game, Okabe finally broke through with his first goal in December.
I was struggling. The team knew I was struggling a bit, but I was just so relieved and super happy, and for it to be at the Mariucci Classic with my family there was pretty cool. So.
The first one was awesome because we're waiting for it, I don't think he hadn't scored before. So, I mean, when everybody gets their first goal, it's huge, the bench is going crazy. And then he gets the second one, and we're like, oh, attaboy, hat trick, and we're going nuts. And then the fourth one, we're like, okay, what is going on? Like he was hot.
Okabe would finish the night with his first 4 collegiate goals. The offensive explosion does not surprise head coach Brett Larson.
His hands are extremely quick. His release on his shot is really high end. He can get that thing off in traffic too. He doesn't need a lot of room, a lot of space for a lot of time, which is, kind of what leads to a lot of goals, right? And I think early in the season, college hockey happens really fast, and plays were happening quicker than he's used to. Wasn't able to make some of those plays or get a few of those shots off, but I think little by little he's acclimating to the speed of the game.
With how our line's playing lately, and with the other freshmen, I think if we really get going and for the second half here and just really play our game, then the offense is going to come for sure.